Hello, and welcome to In the Middle. I am Rachel Kinningham, daughter of host Roy Kinningham and producer of the podcast. All episodes that have been released to this point were recorded before October 7th, 2023. However, in a moment, you will hear a discussion between Roy and Cedric regarding some of their views on what is happening in the Middle East that was captured while preparing for a podcast recording in May of this year. In previous episodes and in upcoming episodes, there are discussions about hatred and what the definition of that is from a Jewish standard. From a personal standpoint, it is because of these teachings that I cannot endorse or condone the actions of the Israeli state. I've seen it called anti-Semitism to condemn their actions, and to that I simply say, it is because of my Jewish faith that I do. I was taught that the mitzvah above all mitzvot is preservation of human life, and I do not see that being reflected in the Israeli government. I understand that this may not sit right with some people, but it is one of the goals of this podcast to reach those who have felt that they've been left behind or persecuted by the respective religions that we subscribe to. I can't see how we can do that and not speak up for those who have faced so much destruction over the last several months and decades. We bear a responsibility not only to our community, but for our community. For that reason, I felt it would be immoral not to vocalize our support for innocent Palestinians who are living in fear at the hands of those who claim to worship our God. So while this was not intentionally recorded for the public, and for that reason I hope you forgive any audio issues, please enjoy this special minisode of In the Middle.
From the media standpoint, meaning that the truth about who the PLO is or who Hamas is, or who Israel is and how they handle, there's not accurate representation of these things.
Or the
it's
difference
very
between
slanted.
Israel as a nation and community and
the Jewish population as a whole around the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then also looking at, okay, well, there's what we understand about them from the Christian perspective.
Yeah.
And then there's the reality of the leadership of that country now.
Right.
And how divided it is with, Bibi and the Knesset and all these different. And then the fact
I'm a supporter of the Knesset, by the way.
Most Americans don't
marijuana.
even.
Not that I use marijuana. It's my type of thinking. Is what
most Americans don't even know that there is a very vibrant conversation about how things should go with pursuing living with the Palestinians in Israel, and the idea of it. There is not a consensus. It's not monolithic in Israel.
Right.
There are
definitely not monolithic around the world.
Exactly.
I'm actually a non-Zionist. I'm actually against Zionism. When the Hebrew language was coming back, I said good. Yeah. Right. Not for political reasons, not for activism reasons, just it's this idea that one day Israel would be again, but it would be by the hand of God.
Right.
The Israel we have now was created by a couple of superpowers.
Right.
And so this is idolatry. What I mean is this is not under the subject of the Almighty, the creator of the universe. This is politics got involved. All of this is a byproduct of politics getting involved and manipulating people.
Exactly.
And so if that's the way something starts, there's no way you can think that there's going to be peace. But the way it's been handled, when I saw the response after posting on Facebook and promoting the podcast a little bit, I don't think anybody, it's kind of like this. The Christian preacher decides to have an affair. He doesn't give a crap about the congregation. It's not whether he can control himself. It's not that. There can be many reasons why someone has an affair, but you have to have the presence of mind or the spirituality to say, how is this going to impact, one, the body at large and the local congregation? Most of the time when we find preachers that went corrupt, they don't care. There's a bit of an element of that here. Israel defending yourself, yes. But did you think about how this is impacting Judaism around the world? And I don't see that. Because one of the things about being a mighty force is you have to temper yourself.
Right.
Your response has to be metered because that's the responsibility of having this kind of power. And I really feel like Israel, I feel like they lack the wisdom on the response.
There's an old story.
No, it's not even an eye for an eye or tooth for tooth anymore.
It's more like the Tar Baby story. The rare rabbit goes down and he's all cocky and full of himself, and the enemy has created this little tar version of Brer Rabbit to get his arrogance riled up, and he starts fighting and he's stuck in it and he can't. And the more he fights, the more entangled with this thing that he gets. And they're like, we're going to work your ego. We're going to work your sentiments. We're going to work your fears. We're going to work all of that and get you into this situation where you will divorce yourself from the allies that previously were with you. What point do you wake up and go, wait a minute, let me look at the outcomes. Let me look at how all the nations that were my friends are now looking at me like I've lost my mind. Like, what about this? The thing that is the most telling for me is Hamas endangered or took 1,400 lives.
Yeah.
Do you know how many casualties have happened as a result of friendly fire? In other words, Israeli soldiers dying because of where they were placed when Israeli maneuvers have happened. Over 10,000.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So Israel has killed more Israelis than Hamas did since that action.
Yeah.
How can we continue to justify this?
At this point, I don't focus as much on it being an Israeli-Palestinian conflict as much as the global impact of what's taken place.
When you look at that, what would make somebody that desperate? And that goes into, okay, well, what set of scenarios happened and how long has this gone on, and what has been the trend that has Hamas to the point where they're like, we've got nothing to lose.
Yeah. I would say this: we can't fix this with one-liners and simple statements or anything like that. And I think I was watching Rabbi, and he obviously was very emotionally affected. Which, on the one hand, I agree. On the other hand, there's a conduct befitting a rabbi, and you really need to try to stay out of politics if you're a Torah teacher. I mean, if you're not, you went through the school and you got your rabbi degree or whatever, but you're a plumber, that's a bit different. But when you set up and you say that my Besorah is Torah, I'm a shlichim, my message is to take Torah to the world, there's some things you don't get to participate in. And now we know a concept of I'm not from this kingdom.